This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Kenan and Layden of agmarket.net for our closing markets. But first, it is my discussion with Nate Kramer of John Deere as we learn about the newest innovations in technology with John Deere combines.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Nate Kramer. We are at the John Deere exhibit at the Farm Progress Show 2025. And Nate, man, you've got a busy job here with the amount of people that want to come by and talk to you about new John Deere technology on these combines and just learn about them in general. So I guess, what are you excited to tell them about here today when they stop by, Nate?
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about and a lot of different ways to talk about it. So with this year, we have our brand new S7 series. We launched it last year, but it's coming with new technology. We have a lot to talk about with our new front end pieces as well. So really, we have the ability to engage with our customers talking about the holistic harvesting solution, whether it's the front end, the combine, or the technology that goes along with it.
Now, that's funny you say, this combine came out last year. It's already got new tech involved with it. Is that show the commitment of John Deere to try and keep on that leading edge?
It does, and this is where with 25, when we introduced our new business model to go along with it, a completely different level of focus, commitment, energy on not providing our customers year over year, but even within the year. So every customer that's going to the field this harvest season, they don't have 25 base technology, they have 25.5. So it's even within the year, we're committed to it, and we're committed to value being generated for our growers. That's the key.
So what would some of that new tech on the combine be that you're excited about?
Yeah, let's just talk about the S7 here behind us. Introduced this machine last year, which is the next generation of a series that we've had for 25 years with our STS. In the launch of this, it was a 10 plus 20 gain. 10% fluid efficiency improvement, up to 20% productivity gains with the technology. So, how are we doing it? We're doing it in the forms of better adjustments to where we can reduce losses, improve grain quality, but also with our market exclusive functionality of our predictive ground speed automation, we're giving the combine the ability to see 28 and a half feet in front of it. So that maximizes the ground speed that our automation system is going to give our customers the ability to operate with.
What has the feedback been like on this new series of combines, of course, like you said, introduced last year?
It really has surprised a lot of people, right? They're like, all right, we see what you did. You added a few new things to a 25-year-old machine. They're blown away by it, right? And they are realizing the true value that this unlocks. Where a lot of people say, yeah, I've had one before, I know what it can do. They're coming back and saying, wow, that is really more than what I was expecting. And, right, it's a lot lighter on the fuel bill as well at the end of the day.
So when you think about John Deere continuing to make these improvements, make these changes, it's at the end goal of trying to get that efficiency to where you want it, that effectiveness, of course, of the product, and then that just helps the farmer at the end of the day because they're doing more with less, right?
That's it. That's the name of the game. We're in a very challenging, conditions right now. We're all working through that. So being as competitive as possible per acre, managing those costs, that's really, the game that all of us need to really participate in and do well in. And we're committed to our growers being efficient, being productive, and having a high quality of job done.
What is the way that you demonstrate that to a farmer through hard data and I guess being able to actually see that difference and not just hear about it?
Yeah, that's great. And it's through our John Deere Operations Center. So it's their data. With their data, that's coming in, they can see it, and that's really the key piece is working with our operations center, right? That's how they can manage the farm efficiently, but that's also the way that we're showing automation on, automation off. Here is the true gains that you're getting with it within your field, within your farm, and that's the most effective way, right? Where we can do testimonials, we can do our data, which we'll absolutely do, we'll absolutely show it, but showing the value that our growers can achieve on their own farms is the best way we want to go about it.
So I'd imagine that was kind of what you were alluding to earlier when you said farmers have tried this combine or heard, I guess, seen it in action, and they're saying, you know what, this is actually doing a little bit more than I even thought it did.
Yeah, you're spot on, and it's when they've had a series of machines for a couple of years. Yeah, you understand how far you can push that, but this is really focusing on maintaining the peak capacity all day long, right? And some operators can achieve that, but man, it takes a lot of work. This takes all that pressure off of them and allows our growers not only to be the most productive, efficient, competitive, but it also allows them to manage other critical tasks during the harvesting step of the year. Very busy, a lot of logistics, a lot of moving parts. So the automation takes some of that load off their shoulders as well, which is another major value that we provide.
He's Nate Kramer of John Deere. Nate, is there anything else you'd like to let our Iowa growers know about when it comes to the combine line from John Deere, or just anything you're excited about?
We're excited about all the solutions that we have available. We have a lot of aftermarket opportunities as well, that if you're not ready quite this year to upgrade, you can upgrade via aftermarket solutions, our puck solutions. But again, I just want to say thank you as well for doing what you're doing on a daily basis. Thank you for being allowing us to be a trusted partner. And very much looking forward to working together in the future to come.
Nate, thanks for the conversation today. It's been an interesting discussion. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the show.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you to Nate Kramer of John Deere for joining today's show. It is time now for our closing markets, and I will be joined by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. But first, a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Time now for our closing markets here on Ag Matters PM, and I'm joined by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. Kenan, how did we trade in the grains here today?
Yeah, grains continue to be pressured today after that nice open to the week in the grain markets. Downward pressure continued today. Corn probably waiting on that WASDE report. Most analysts expect that yield number will come down. The question is how much, and what does the USDA do? In the past, they've had some pretty minor changes to the yields when they revise it down this early in the season, but never rule out a surprise. So corn's been pretty flat here over the last week with like almost 415 to 425 range. Soys continue to be pressured. Nothing out of China. Sounds like China has bean needs met September, October into part of November, which if you look at basis up in my area, beans aren't going anywhere and they have no home. So bean pressures are continuing to be priced on there. And wheat, no bullish news in the wheat. Can't seem to get anything going. It seems that all the crops across the world seem to be okay. Russia raised, some analysts raised the Russian production higher. Soy oil was up today. Some of that small finery exemption, reallocation of that biodiesel, blending mandate. It sounds as if half of it's going to get reallocated to larger refiners and half of it will not. So kind of a compromise in the middle.
And so, Kenan, do we just factor in then on Friday with everyone kind of laying low here this week with the low volume of trade, waiting for the USDA report? When we get those numbers and any changes that are potentially made, are we going to see a price movement one way or the other based on those yield numbers?
Maybe is your answer. It's a hard report to handicap, as you hear a lot of times from people doing analysis of this. If there's almost no major revisions, sometimes you're expecting something before the WASDE, you trade to protect yourself and minimize downside risk, and it's a nothing burger, nothing happens. But other times, they'll throw in like a 5 bushel decrease, in a crop, and it kind of comes out of left field. So just have to see what NASS has and the USDA, and I'm sure there will be some volatility. It's always a question of which crop and which way, based on what they're going to publish.
On the other side of the ag markets, has it been as quiet in the trade for the livestock?
Depending on length of moves, I guess it was pretty quiet. Cattle weren't limit down today as they were yesterday. Front months closed up with some of your more deferred contracts down in that cattle complex. That feeder cattle index is trading around 365 with the board price being below that. They have to settle together. So still some cash support there in the feeder cattle and the lean hogs, I should add. That lean hog index is above that October contract, making it so those can't go too far away. So feeder cattle and lean hogs traded kind of the same. Front months staying close to cash and some of the most deferred months selling off. Wasn't near the sell-off it had been yesterday. And then live cattle closed up today, maybe finding support at that 9-week moving average. So turnaround in cattle, which has been the story. We'll see if there's any more follow through the downside or upside here. Over the past few months, it's been pretty much just follow through to the upside after big moves down.
He is Kenan Layden of agmarket.net, my guest here today for Closing Markets. Kenan, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, just go to agmarket.net, browse around, and see if there's anything that catches your interest.
Kenan, thanks so much for the information here today, helping us to prepare for that WASD report, and we will speak again soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you to Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our closing market discussion. It is time now to take a look at the closing numbers from today's markets, and you can find that information anytime under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
December corn closes down 2 3/4 at $4.17 even. November soybeans down 6 cents at $10.25 1/4. October soybean meal down $4.20 at $2.8350. October soybean oil up 54 cents at $50.47. Chicago wheat down 5 1/4 at $5.15 even. Minneapolis wheat down 5 cents at $5.70. Kansas City hard red wheat down 3 1/4 at $5.07 even. December oats down 3 1/4 at $3.18. On the Merc, October live cattle up 98 cents at $231.15. September feeder cattle up $1.50 at $353.20. October lean hogs up 70 cents at $96.83. October pork cutout unchanged at $102.23. Class 3 milk down 7 cents at $17.67.
That wraps up our closing markets and brings us to the end of today's show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can head to our website for all of our content at iowaagnet.com. You can follow us on social media at Facebook and X. You can also listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, you've been watching Ag Matters PM.